Hello guys, today we're reviewing the third Purge movie, The Purge Alexiniel. This is when the series started to go downhill a bit, especially when the movie is produced by Michael Bay. Yes, Michael Bay was a part of this movie, no wonder why there was so much flashy explosions and stuff in the last film. But here we are to the third film. The third film is not as great as the other two films as I said. And no, I'm not gonna blame Michael Bay solely for this, as he was in the second film as well, part of the second producer of the second film as well. A young Charlene Roan and her family are tied up in a mass project. He taunts them with the third playlist and tells them they'll play a final purge game called Mommy's Choice. He'll proceed to kill the rest of the family and leaves her the only survivor. 18 years later, Roan is a U.S. Senator campaigning for U.S. presidency, promising to end the annual purge nights, and former police Leo Bonds, now head of security for Roan. The new founding fathers, Carol Warrens, and their candidate, Edwin Owens, view Roan as a threat. In guise of regaining public trust, they provoke immunity for Rank 10 or hire government officials to kill her on Purge night. Watching the presidential debate over Delhi over Joe Dixon, the assistant Marcos, and the former Purge MBT Ronnie Walker, a pair of teenage girls enter the store and shoplifts, but only called by Joe. The girls mock Joe until Rainey intervenes and recognizes her as a famous ex-purger, and they leave peaceably. Joe receives a phone call stating that the cost of the purge and sales has decreased and beyond his affordability. Joe decides to guard the store himself despite Marcos and Rainey's pleas not to. At the same time, the country's so-called murder tourism booms the economy due to tourists visiting the United States to participate in annual purge nights. On the night of the purge, Joe guards his store and is joined by Marcos, and together they manage to repel an attack by the teenage girls. Rainey and her partner Don patrol the city and the ambulance, providing medical care to the wounded. Roan decides to wait for the purge from a home, rather than a secure location to secure the vote, and is accomplished by Bonds, Chief Cooper, and Alec, and additional security forces. However, the betrayal by the Chief Cooper and Alec allows a neo-Nazi paramilitary force to kill the security detail and evade the house. Bonds escorts Roan to safety, but is wounded in the process and detonates a bomb in the house, killing the Alec and the Chief Cooper. Navigating the hostile streets of D.C., Bones and Roan attempt to seek shelter, but is ambushed by a gang of purgers and taken captive. Before they can be executed, Joe and Marcos kill the king. And seeing the palace fight to the store's rooftop, they take shelter in the store, but the teenage girls return with reinforcements. However, Rain runs over the leader and kills the group. As the other purgers threaten to break in, they have a safer hideout. The team is ambushed by Dan Zuniga and a helicopter. They seek refuge beneath an overpass where Bonds realizes they are trapped of the bullet wads inside him, and he manages to attract it. After confirmation of a large number of Crips, the team helps the leader's injured comrade and return the Crips plant a bullet in another area to divert the military team. There is a way to eliminate. The team arrives at the underground anti-purge hideout is ran by Dante Bishop Bonds and discovers that the Bishop groups intend to assassinate an FFA in order to end the purge. A large group of military forces arrive at the hideout looking for Bishop, Bonds, and Roan as they escape back in the street to meet them, who have left the hideout to return to the store. Return to Jones' stores and they board an ambulance. While fleeing the city, their ambulance is hit by Dante's team. Roan is pulled from the van and the soldiers before Bonds can assist. Bonds leads the group and Bishop's team to a fortified cathedral where NFFA plans to sacrifice her before they can be killed. The group arrives to assassinate Roan, so cause a suit that kills the entire congregation except Owens and another NFFA royalist. Harmon James, who escapes Owen, is caught by a Bishop's group, while Roan managed to persuade them to spare him, the governor that they want to do. kill because it's legal to kill people in the purge. The remaining paramilitary forces arrive, killing Bishop and his team. Dussinger and Bonds engage in a melee which ends in the former's death. As Lauren and team flee the imprisoned purge victims, James emerges and kills a released prisoner. Joe shoots him, but is fatally wounded. Before dying, Joe asks Marcos to take care of the store. 2 months later, Lauren wins the election in a landslide, while Bonds is appointed new director of Secret Service. Marcos and Rainey renovate Joe's store, which has been looted and demolished, surviving half the teenage girls' groups, and continue to run it in his memory. A news reports that the state to the NFFA supports the state's violent uprising across the country in response to election results. So it actually could make a pretty interesting sequel about the supporters, but that's basically their third film. It isn't the last film as they made the first purge, and of course, there's a gigantic timeline gap between this film, which is 2040, to 2023, so it was like 17 years of that they skipped, that they could make many more movies off of, and make many more stories of people, horror stories about people having to survive this event. In many cities, there's much more plots they can make up, since there's like a 17-year time skip between this film and Anarchy. So this film shows when the government officials are no longer safe. It basically shows the people that are running away from the government, since the government allowed the government officials to be killed. It's basically the last purge. Basically, this is the last one, and it's basically the film is basically they remove the thing about government officials so they can make so he gets assassinated, and so they can win easily in a landslide that they can never lose again. And it shows that people don't really want this type of economy, killing people just so unemployment can be very low. A 1% unemployment is actually very, very bad, because you're just getting rid of all the poor people and all the sick and poor people so you can push an agenda. So that's basically another bad thing they did. So the new founding father. So basically, this film is basically supposed to show that the purge is really not a good thing to do. Basically legalizing murder, lets all the psychos out, and of course crime is reduced, but all the criminals are allowed to do whatever they want for 12 hours. So they basically save the day for one day, and everybody else has to barricade themselves from these crazy, insane individuals. So I'll give this film a 6 out of 10. It's not the greatest film in the world, but it's not the worst film. It's a decent 6 out of 10 film. It's teetering near bad, but it's not teetering near good at all. So, hope you like, subscribe, and follow, and do all that stuff to see more movie reviews and game reviews.